Hey there YouTube, and welcome to my channel. I'm a massive music fan from Brussels, and that naturally includes Eurovision. So for the first time ever, I've decided to make a video where I discuss my favorite top 20 songs from this year's edition in Liverpool. As I go along the list, I'll be talking about the strengths and weaknesses of each song, and why I think they might do well in the final. At the end, I'll be making a prediction about who I think might end up with the winner's trophy. So without any further ado, let's dive in. I'll start the ball rolling with my number 20, which is Italy. It's such a smooth and inoffensive song that flows very nicely once it's on, but it doesn't really have a very lasting impact afterwards. And it's not really a very typical Eurovision song per se, so that might be one of its weaknesses. But it's sung gorgeously, and it's a beautiful song, so that's why it deserves to be my number 20. My number 19 is Cyprus, and this is a very decent song with a very strong hook and amazing vocals in the studio cut. So the way he pulls this off in live version is going to be the determining factor if he makes it to the final and if he does really well. He seems to have a lot of fans based on his looks alone, so that's going to be a big advantage for him. My number 18 is Serbia, and this is a song that has its highlights here and there, but the overall product comes across as kind of disjointed. And even though I really believe in the message it's trying to convey at the core of it, I feel like the whole thing could have been a bit more cohesive and a stronger entry. My number 17 is Portugal with Mimicat, and this is a very smooth and enjoyable song. It ironically kind of sounds more Spanish than Portuguese to my ears, but that's a minor criticism. And much like Italy, it's a very pleasant song while it's on without leaving a lasting impact afterwards. I put this above Italy because I feel like the visual presentation is much stronger. My number 16 is Germany with Lord of Lost. As a massive fan of Rammstein, it was really easy for me to get into this song and connect with it. It's very catchy and melodic with a very memorable presentation. I just wish that it wasn't really linear in its core and the middle 8 had a bit more impact and more climax than it really does. My number 15 is Mae Muller. This is one of the catchiest songs of the whole competition, and it has a very polished and really impactful video to go along with it. But having seen the live version, I kind of feel like it went down my list a bit. I just feel like it doesn't really live up to the hype that much. I must also admit that I don't really connect that much with the contents of the lyrics. My number 14 is Malta. This is a very surprising song because it didn't really connect with me initially, but it really grew on me with time, with its catchy melodies and really strong hooks, and that sax throughout it is really one of its selling points. So hats off to Malta for incorporating the sax. My number 13 is our own entry, Belgium with Gustaph. I actually know Gustaph for some time now, all the way back to the 2010s when he made 2 albums with Hercules and Love Affair. And I even got to see him play live during that decade. This song is some kind of an oddity because I feel like for everyone who likes it, there's someone out there who thinks that it's kind of bland and outdated. And I don't really fully agree with that sentiment. I kind of feel like it's not really trying to be anything other than a feel-good anthem for the LGBTQ community, and it does that really well. I just wish that visually speaking and presentation-wise, it would have been a bit more inclusive rather than just being about the trans and drag community. My number 12 is Czechia with Vesna. Well, this song really grew on me with time because I didn't really connect with it initially. There's something very haunting and melodic about it, even though I don't really understand a single word of the Slavic languages that are included within it. But having looked up what the song is about, I really agree with the underlying statement of Slavic solidarity regarding what's going on in Ukraine. My number 11 is Remo Forrer, Switzerland. I have to say that Remo is hands down my favorite male vocalist among all the others this year. There's something about his vocal delivery and the melodies of the song that really grabbed me, but also the underlying message of the song. But that said, I feel like there's something really missing in this song, that X factor that would make it like a big contender for the title. But overall, I just love the song, and that's why it's my number 11. My number 10 is Norway with Alessandra. Now, I have to say that this has one of the strongest and catchiest hooks and choruses out there this year. But everything else about it is kind of pleasantly okay, nothing more. And as a big fan of Scandi pop, I feel like I've heard stronger songs in this genre. Having seen live versions of this song, I have to say that she is one hell of a live performer, and she's definitely going to deliver the goods on the final. My number 9 is Georgia with Eru. This song is a standout for so many reasons on so many levels. First of all, you have those unique drum beats, and then the melody and the gorgeous video and the epic vocalizations and Eru's smooth and buttery soprano vocals on top of that. It's just absolutely enjoyable, especially when it comes to the last 30 seconds when it really builds up into a crescendo. That's absolutely a highlight for me. The biggest downfall for this song is Iru's enunciation. There's something about the way she sings these lyrics that make it incomprehensible for most of us. My number 8 is Sweden with Loreen. Well, this is the one that has all the hype attached to it, and for a good reason. Is it a good song? Well, obviously it is. But is it a winning song? I don't think it is for me. I feel like I've heard this one before. It's Euphoria's lesser cousin. It is one-dimensional, compositionally speaking, compared to her other song. And for all these reasons, she's just my number 8, while she's going to do much better on the final and be a big contender, obviously. But part of me really wishes that there's going to be a brand new winner this year and not have a repeat of 2012. My number 7 is France with Zarra. I was really surprised when I learned that France is actually getting a Canadian to sing for them this year. But upon hearing the song, I feel like I really love it. There's something very unique about the way it starts off as a French chanson and it morphs into a disco banger as it goes along. The melody is strong, the hooks are strong, the vocal delivery is really good. But having seen the live performance of this one, and because I'm not a fan of divas, just striking poses while singing just doesn't cut it for me. I feel like there's something missing in terms of an overall presentation and performance. My number 6 is Estonia and Alika. Well, this is my favorite pure ballad. It's got everything right compositionally, and Alika's vocal delivery is pitch perfect, note perfect, nothing to criticize. Probably the best female vocalist. It's quite traditional as a song, so that might make some people take it for granted. But when staged well, I think this song is going to strike a chord with those purists who would see the virtuosity in Alika's performance and definitely get behind it. My number 5 is Israel and Noah Kirel. Noah was the very first artist announced in the summer of last year, so I was really curious to find out who she was. So I did a lot of digging on YouTube, and I mostly loved what I heard. Unicorn is a song that's really trying hard to paint by numbers to fit itself into the Eurovision Song Contest format. It has a very inconsistent flow, but overall it's doing most things right, and Noah's charisma and vocal delivery alone can really sell this song. Bear in mind that Noah is a massive star in her home country, and the support she's going to get from the Jewish diaspora overall is going to propel this song really high up the rankings in the final. My number 4 is Slovenia, Joker Out. As a massive fan of indie rock and pop rock generally, it was really easy for me to get into this song. There's something about the melodies and the way it mixes indie rock with pop and dance elements, make it a very accessible song. Add to that the fact that it's sung in Slovenian, it's got a party vibe, and it's got a very nice presentation, so when staged properly, this is going to do really well in the final. My number 3 is Australia with Voyager. As a massive fan of progressive rock music, the funny thing is that I've known Voyager for quite some years now. I even have the album that they released in 2018, but never ever imagined that one day they'll be competing in Eurovision Song Contest. What's really impressive about this song is that they condensed the essence of a progressive rock song into a 3-minute format. In fact, there's enough ideas here to flesh the song out into a 7-minute epic, but they just do it in 3 minutes. This is probably the only song that has this many tempo changes and time signature changes that make it very unique and very accessible to casual listeners, but also to progressive rock fans who want more than just a simple pop song. My number 2 is Armenia with Brunette. I've known Brunette ever since 2018 when she was a youngster still on the scene. So even then I was already impressed by her vocals. And I was really rooting for her for one day to compete in the Eurovision Song Contest. So I was excited this year when she was announced as an internal selection. And even though I was familiar with Brunette's songs that she has released so far, nothing really prepared me for what was being presented in this one. I mean, this is beyond what Brunette has ever released compositionally and musically. This is her pushing the envelope and evolving as an artist. Besides being a grower, it has that very unique quality to give me goosebumps every time I listen to it. Especially when it comes to that middle section where her rapping is going up against the instrumentation from the orchestra, and it builds up into this climax that is very, very unique and very touching. That's where she gets me every time. I'm really hoping that this Eurovision is going to be a springboard for Brunette for bigger things in the future, much like Rosalind last year. My number 1 is Austria with Teya and Salena. Well, what can I say about this song? It's possibly the only song this year that ticks all the boxes for me when it comes to creating the perfect Eurovision song. It's got an excellent concept at its core, clever and funny lyrics, gorgeous melodies, and it connects the dots between Edgar Allan Poe and the state of the music business nowadays, and that by itself is a genius. Add to that the Lady Gaga-inspired dance routine, the gorgeous music video, and you've got a winning combination. So fingers crossed they will hold the trophy when it comes to the final of this year. So that's it for me. These were my favorite songs of this year, and these are obviously only my opinions. You probably have a completely different top 20, and that's the beauty of music. In fact, if you have the same exact top 20, I would love to hear from you, because that would be really, really freaky. Feel free to share down in the comments your favorite acts and tell me why you think that they might win.